So you're building a 3-page website, and part of the information that comes to you, where does that come from?
It comes from this Excel questionnaire spreadsheet that our DSC model agents fill out when they're on the phone with the customer. So they'll get all the information they need. This is the information we get from the salesperson, basically, a lot of the name of the sales rep, their URL that they want to use for the site. I think this is overwriting a basic older hibu site, which is found here.
So it goes from Advantage to a hibu?
Actually, it's a yellow, it's an older yellow book site from 2010.
So it's a single page?
Yeah,
the free sites?
A lot of our old ones are, so.
Okay.
Basically want to upgrade to something more state-of-the-art and modern.
And what determines the page count for the website?
In part, how much what they bought. Like if they only bought a premium site or a basic site. This was a basic site they paid for. And so, I mean, the idea is to get as many pages as possible because for SEO practices, it's better to find them that way.
Yeah. How many years have you been building sites or months? Or
I started here in January of 2014. So
fantastic.
I've done a little of everything on this side of things, writing, QA, editing, proofreading.
So everything now that you get comes from the consultation. Is there anything that we could do better on our team, like when we're out selling, to make sure that we prep the person for the interview?
Make sure the customer understands what they're getting and understands what we can do for them. And understands that we're trying to make it as straightforward as possible for best practices. Like if you're a lawyer, you don't need 5 paragraphs just to explain what Chapter 11 bankruptcy is.
Right.
Like just get it, all our sites, the idea behind them, or get to the meat of it, get the heart of it in like a few sentences as quickly as possible. And just like, here's what Chapter 11 is in a nutshell. Call if you wanted more information, rather than reading the entire, you don't need the entire Wikipedia entry about Chapter 11 on your website.
Very cool. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and
sure.
I'll just kind of watch what you're doing.
Okay. Business of 1922, locally owned and operated. Some other stuff. I mean, some of it's kind of a weird, you might reword it. Like, I don't want to say they're all full blown. That's kind of an odd phrasing used on somebody's website. But I might rewrite that differently. Like, we are a service-oriented company. Your satisfaction is our number one priority.
Gotcha.
Free estimates for AC replacements. They don't give free estimates for everything they do. So I wouldn't write that, but I'd write free estimates for air conditioning replacements. When you're working, so you put this stuff all in somewhere on the site at least once, if not more, to get it in the mix.
And how long does it take you to write a site?
It really varies. Like a short one like this, like I'm stopping and starting obviously to talk, but I mean, a short one like this should take under 2 hours because it's so short. But it could be like, I had one that was for a mental health clinic with some very specific terms I wasn't familiar with and a lot of information they gave us. So I said to dig in, and it took like 4 hours. It took like half a day because it was a very complicated site on an uncommon topic. But if it's like this, like heating air conditioning, it's a really common site that we sell here. So I know like the terminology and the phrasing down pat. So it shouldn't take as long.
How many sites do you build in a week?
At least 10. Like the goal is at least 2 a day. So it's usually more than that. Like you might get like 2.5 or something, and it'll spill over the next day. So at least 10 usually.
Very cool.
More than that, it just varies.
I can tell you like what you do. Like what you do.
I enjoy it. I mean, it's at least interesting. It's not like you're writing just about HVAC sites every single day, like all day long. At least there's like a variation of it.
And you're only doing the content. Someone else takes care of the photos and everything else.
Yes,
pictures and
Bill
colors.
Does that. They do all like we work inside the template and just try and make it fit the template. And then let me find an older one that I can find. Give me a minute. I'll just take one open here from a couple days ago. Let's see this one. This is the software we work inside of SiteMaker. This is where everything's built. It's fairly straightforward. The system we used to use right before I got hired here was not very straightforward. The older sites that...
the old Advantage sites?
Yeah, the Advantage software is called FatWire. I never had to use it. I always... my buddy who trained me when I started here showed me, I described it as looking into the matrix. It's
really?
Like,
very complicated?
Yeah, it's just code.
Gotcha.
Not very... This, you open
just plug and play?
Yeah, exactly. So here's the site I wrote last week. And they redesigned it enough that it looks like this now. So they gave them the colors, they changed all the art. Here's a blog page. That's something we don't design because unless there's like occasionally like one little bit somewhere, like with the phone number in the template.
Gotcha.
But the blog is entirely on the customer to do whatever they want with. Like they plug it in. It's like using Blogspot or some other like common content management system. So we just make a blog page for them. It's pretty easy. That's another thing. Customers really need to provide as much as possible, and they shouldn't just assume that we're going to know. Like,
Right.
I mean, we're professionally writing this, but you can't just tell us, like, write about metalsmithing. Like,
Right.
Yeah, that's a really...
You don't have time to research all that, right?
Yeah, and it's also, like, you don't know exactly what they do. Like I'm not an expert on, like, grading specific metal parts for a specific tractor.
Right.
That you work on. Like, give us something to go off of rather than just, like, research metalsmithing. Like, you need a little more than that to go on.
Right.
If you're writing anything. Like, because you don't know exactly what they do. It's a complicated subject, and a lot of times the customer is so in their own, I don't want to say in their own head, but they already know what they do. It's hard to, like, explain to somebody else external.
They need to get excited about it to explain, just like they're going to a bank and getting a loan.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it.
Yep.
But yeah, you have to at least explain to someone who doesn't know about building. I mean, that's just the example. That's like a more complicated, we create these specific metal parts to put together your tractor's engine, for example. And that's not something that's a common topic that, information and knowledge versus, air conditioners, or even, like, I don't know, I had one the other week for, like, not a funeral home, but like a funeral home. They sold tombstones and stuff like that. And, I mean, that's a little easier to get your brain around than something that's a little more uncommon.
Absolutely.
Topic. So they need to give us a lot more information about that sort of thing.
Very cool.
Or if it's, just an uncommon business in any way. There's a section, all our websites recently we changed, so we want to have, it's more important to have their area of service than, like, their email address in the header. So every site has to have, like, serving the county, or serving, like, San Antonio, Texas, or serving this entire, like, all of southwestern Texas or something like that.
Gotcha.
So we have to have that explained at some point. Phone number, fax number, email, their hours, that kind of stuff is on this one.
Okay.
This is usually a list of pages and as much information as they can give us about their pages. Even if it's, like, upgrading their old website, it'll say, like, see our old website, whether it was a hibu site or not.
Gotcha.
We wanted to have the same basic information and rewrite it for the new template.
What did you do before this?
What did I do before I worked here?
Yeah.
I worked for a radio trade publication that was mainly online.
Oh, so you wrote before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Writing, editing, rewriting press releases into news articles.
Wow.
This offers and incentives tab is, again, more of these sort of unique selling points that U.S.
Why do business with me?
Yeah, like how long they've been in business, free estimates, licensing, like if they're, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, stuff like that, warranties, and so on. Designing for this is mainly for the build team, like what color they want it to be, if they're going to send in their own pictures, or just use stuff from our stock image library. Here's stock images, use heating, air conditioning pictures. So
okay, gotcha.
Generic pictures of people doing that. Here's the template they pick, which is important. If they have a slogan or not. If they have a slogan, that would go up in the header as well, usually. If they want us, the slider doesn't come with this one. If they want a slider, here's all the credit card logos they want on the page.
Okay, that's from the build team.
Yeah, that's one for the build. This is video information. Video, I don't think, comes with a basic site ever.
Gotcha.
So that gets filled out. This is just text for the person on the phone to tell them DSC. This is the metadata. This is really important. It's something else I think that sales needs to understand, because I think the customer or sales people all the time have, like, an older view of how metadata works and think there should be, like, just shove every possible information as possible in there, like shove, like, every city in the region or every word, like,
Gotcha.
related to it. And that's not how they work anymore. It sort of evolves constantly. Every couple months we're getting a new way. Here's the new best practices for metadata.
Okay.
So it really should have, like, the way we write it now is there's just the name of the business, one or two keywords depending on which type of page it is, the city that they're in, and then the phone number and some of the benefits that we mentioned earlier, free estimates and all that.
Very nice.
And just a few keywords about that page.
Okay.
And there's different formatting if it's a blog page or a gallery, whatever. But I mean, I think the days of it all being shoved in there as much information as possible that's not how it works anymore. Like, that's not what Google likes anymore. But we'll see that sometimes. That's something else that people should be aware of on the sales side. That just listing every city in, like, 30-mile radius doesn't really help.
Doesn't hunt.
That's not how that works anymore.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, well, I told us.
Okay.
Something else I didn't mention yet is about we try and make the writing you-focused, which is to make as many, like, I mean, sometimes you have to write a sentence, so it's like, we are this, but you try and make it as much as possible, like, you can trust us, you'll get, we'll do this for your business, your heating and air conditioning needs, to try and fit as many of you and your and you will into the site as possible, so it's more pointing at the customer.
Makes sense.
Pointing at our client. So, try and make that. I mean, sometimes you can't write a sentence that without making it sound really awkward, but best case scenario, try and write as much as possible for all your needs.
Sure.
Let me find another example of that. Your locally owned and operated, your satisfaction, whether you need. So that kind of writing is something we really try and do our best to get through. So this is a really long list here of bullets, so I might put some of them here and then rewrite some of the sentences and just make sure it's all in there somewhere.
Insurance?
It goes to the design team, and then it goes to quality insurance.
Okay.
And then it'll go back, currently the model goes back to the DSC people, so they can look at the proof of it, and then get hold of, I think this is how it works now, because it's...
Right. It's fluid.
Yeah. And I'm not on that side, so... But I'll explain to you later that basically, I think they look at the proof together with the customer. And the customer will say, like, we like this, we don't like this, or same thing they don't like.
So when they go through the proofing process?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, but they can explain more, because, like I said, it just, is still changing over, and I'm not sure how much, what they do on that end, if somebody goes to another team at this point. It's mobile friendly. It's not mobile optimized.
Right.
You can't make it look like a completely different site on your phone.
Right.
You can just make this content organized as best as possible for the mobile site with the process we have, the software we have right now. So this isn't designed yet, but you'll see their logo will be up here where it says Sparky, and one graphic will be here. We try and limit.
And that graphic can be anything, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be the hero image.
It usually it depends on
it usually
fits
is
nicely.
Yeah. Okay.
The idea is there's only one graphic per page, so it loads quicker.
Okay.
Like if you had if you had a doctor's office that had bios for 10 employees, you don't want all 10 employees' pictures coming up in your mobile view because that'll take forever. It'll take longer to load. I mean, as quickly as a mobile site loads nowadays, it's still.
So the whole goal of our mobile is to get them to load quickly.
It's to get get the basic information in front of you as quickly as possible, because you assume on a mobile, if you're looking on mobile on your phone, you have even less patience to dig through whatever information's on there.
Right.
So currently the best practice is to use name of the business, bookmarked over here, right, sitting over here, and then one keyword, I'll just HVAC because it's short, and then their location, which is Tulare, and that's perfect. It should be 55 characters. There's a certain character limit for these two. So then the current way to write them is then for the home page you will write their phone number, because that should come up first. This is basically when you search it in Google. Here, I'll show you really quick an example of the way to find these. Hibu. So I'll find a couple hibu HVAC sites. So you'll see right here, well not that, but here this one, see over 30 years of experience, HVAC, geothermal, heat pump, heating service, so it'll come up with that sort of thing. Or a sentence, or residential and commercial. Get an HVAC company that understands your needs. This is sort of metadata that will come up. That's metadata for the home page.
Okay.
Then internal page is pretty much the same sort of thing, just slightly tweaked, like here.
So this one you may put business or residential and commercial?
Yeah, but even simpler than that. If it was a page that was just about residential, I'd put residential heating, residential air conditioning.
Okay.
This is even more big picture stuff, but again, this is only one page here. Air conditioning, heating, HVAC, and then you put the city.